Got some incredible Social Security news. White House finally steps in and calls for increased Social Security. I'll let you know what the White House says about that. Also, take a look at this. Social Security benefits to boost for some Americans under new legislation, as this is the last push to make this legislation to increase Social Security and reform it happen before the end of the year. So I'm going to play you some video footage from one of the representatives of this new legislation.
If you go and fix this, you may have a small impact on when the trust fund goes insolvent, becomes insolvent, but Congress has an obligation to fix this larger issue of solvency or making sure that the Social Security Trust Fund will be around for decades to come.
I'll play you the full video clip of that and give you some other important updates as well. Before I dive into the main content, if you appreciate these Social Security updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Social Security updates. So Social Security benefits to boost for some Americans under new legislation, as millions of Americans rely on Social Security benefits, so any increase is highly appreciated after high inflation and soaring prices. So Congress is gearing up to vote on a significant bill that could increase Social Security benefits for certain Americans if it gets the green light. However, it is still a plan. So in September 2024, Representatives Abigail Spanberger, a Democrat from Virginia, and Garrett Graves, a Republican from Louisiana, will be filing a petition to bring the Social Security Fairness Act to a vote. So basically, with this bill, they are trying to bring up a petition so that they could actually force a vote. So I've been covering this bill because, as I mentioned in a video last week, if this bill is forced to have a vote, the dozens of other Social Security bills may be forced to have a vote as well. So the piece of legislation aims to get rid of the windfall elimination provision, which is the WEP, and the government pension offset, which is the GPO. So take a look at this right here. So U.S. Representative Garrett Graves makes last push to reform Social Security and help people get more money. So under this, the Social Security Fairness Act, I'm going to play the video clip in a moment, but most of them don't realize it until they go retire, but they end up getting a discount or a cut. So basically with this, it would allow people who work for the government, the GPO reduction is explained as if you receive retirement or disability pension from a federal, state, or local government based on your work for which you didn't pay Social Security taxes, your Social Security benefits may be reduced. So basically this will allow that anyone under Social Security will get their Social Security check regardless of their work history. Take a listen to what Representative Graves has to say, and then we're going to go over this article, White House calls for increased Social Security. But first, let's listen to Representative Graves on this Social Security legislation.
The Social Security Fairness Act is aimed at doing away with two provisions that have led to firefighters, teachers, and law enforcement having less money in their Social Security payments come retirement time. This is due to the government pension offset and windfall elimination provision.
Most of them don't realize it until they go to retire, but they end up getting a discount or a cut.
Congressman Garrett Graves has been working on legislation to end this practice for years. The law was put into place in the 70s as a way to prevent overpaying some people, but Graves says it's gone too far. There are over 300 members of Congress on both sides of the aisle for this bill, but it has yet to get out of committee for a full House vote.
We do have some of the highest percentages of retirees impacted by this in the country. Other states like Ohio and California also have very high percentages.
A group of lawmakers will send a letter to the House to discharge the bill in order to pass it before this term ends. Some fear that making Social Security pay out these funds that they've been withholding for decades could speed up the insolvency date that is projected for 2035.
If you go and fix this, you may have a small impact on when the trust fund goes insolvent, becomes insolvent, but Congress has an obligation to fix this larger issue of solvency or making sure that the Social Security Trust Fund will be around for decades to come.
Graves says that he can see this bill making it into the end zone before his final term in the House runs out, which is why he's starting to rush the process. For your local election headquarters, I'm Shannon Hecht.
What are your thoughts on what Representative Graves has to say and about the Social Security Fairness Act? Are you for it? Not for it? Regardless, this could be big news for other Social Security bills if this one passes through a forced petition. So we'll see that, as this is one of the rare co-sponsored bipartisan Social Security bills. So I'll keep you updated on that. White House calls for increased Social Security VA spending in funding patch wish list. So what's going on here? As Congress mulls how to avoid government shutdown, the White House has weighed in with demands to be included in a short-term funding patch. So lawmakers are set to return to Washington next week with the main mission of paying for the government by October 1st. That's right, it is that time of the year again when we're going to have the looming government shutdown, which will probably be kicked down the road until next year, 2025. So lawmakers are set to mostly all on Capitol Hill say short-term funding bill is needed, but the White House and House Speaker Mike Johnson, Louisiana Republican, have different visions for the end product. So each year, the White House sends out a list of budget anomalies, requests when a stopgap funding measure is up for consideration that often include asks for renewing spending authorities or short-term fixes to budget issues. So the White House's wish list includes $15.4 billion boost to Social Security's administration functions. President Biden requested that for the fiscal 2025 year to avoid the lowest staffing levels in more than 50 years during the period of the impending stopgap. So when it comes to increasing Social Security, it's actually $15.4 billion going to the Social Security administrative functions. So this is big. This is not going to actually affect your Social Security check, but it looks like it may increase customer service. It may help other parts of Social Security. Also, the administration wants $12 billion for the Department of Veteran Affairs to stymie the effects of an unexpected budget shortfall next year. So what was said here, what the White House said is, without the anomaly, the VA would have insufficient funding to maintain medical care operations for veterans throughout the fiscal year of 2025. Absent this funding, VA may need to begin addressing any potential shortfall as early as the first quarter of 2025. So they plan on hopefully putting money towards Social Security as well as the VA with this budget to hopefully have it pass before September 30th, so there's no government shutdown. But as mentioned, there's probably going to be some stopgap measures, which means they're going to have short-term funding of 30 days. Then an extra 30 days are going to have to wait and see. Because it is an election year, we're going to see some funky things going on when it comes to this budget, because a lot of the representatives in Congress, both senators and representatives, are going to do some type of finessing to make sure that they remain in office and they get the votes of their voters. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you updated with that. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I want to tell you something that you should always do. Sometimes just sit on your bed or sit at a table on your counter and sit down and take 10 breaths. Breathe in and breathe out, because you need yourself to feel relaxed. And that's all I wanted to tell you for today. Bye.
New Social Security plans presented in this video over here. We're going to see the face-off between Harris and Trump when it comes to Social Security as a new poll is released. What are they going to do about Social Security? Well, take a look at this video over here and I'll give you the details on that. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.